Today we are making a video on Mandioca Lite. It is based on MX Linux and here is the boot menu. Here are few options to change like F2 for language, F3 for time zone, F4 for options, F5 for persist, F6 for failsafe and F7 for console. Let's go through all the options by clicking on them, which is F2 first, which will take us to the language selection, and I'm going to choose the English United States language. And F3 for time zone, I'm choosing the time zone as a Los Angeles. You can choose anything you want. And F4 for options, these are the options. If you want, you can go through all these things. F5 for persist and F6 for failsafe and F7 for console. This is the display settings. If you want, you can go through that. Let's boot it in a live mode by clicking on Mandioca Lite. It's going to take a maximum of 1 minute or minimum of 30 to 40 seconds because usually Linux distros takes that much of time. And I forgot to mention that I'm using virtualization, which is a VMware software with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM, and with 2 processors running. And the desktop environment for this should be like a Xfce because the MX Linux default is Xfce and Fluxbox, KDE Plasma like that. But for this Mandioca is the Xfce. Mandioca is Lite, Loc-Os Xfce Respin. Here is the title of that, and here is our desktop layout, which almost took like a 35 to 40 seconds. Let's first change the display resolution or display settings. It's completely like a music app or a music Linux distro. Let's first quickly change the display settings. I choose the language as a United States, but still it didn't change. No problem, let's use it in the same thing. Display settings should be in the not in the system, maybe in the configuration. I don't know what language is it. I think it's a Portuguese or a Portugal. I can't find the display settings here anywhere. I don't know where it is. Configure del ratio. No, it's not the display setting. We can't find the display setting anywhere here because this is a minimal Linux distro of MX Linux, I guess. If we can't change the display settings, let's keep it like this. I don't know what is this. This is a file manager. Nice, it's a tuner file manager. And this is the guest or the configuration. Here is the display settings, I guess. This one or this one, I don't know properly. Let's open and see. This is the display settings. Mine is 1920 to 1080, but there is no 1920 into 1080 here, as you can see. I need a 16:9 ratio. I'm going to choose the 1360 into 768, which also works properly. A bit of clarity should be missing. What happened? I think instead of clicking OK, I reverted, I guess. Click on apply. Now it's going to stay like this. So let's open the system monitor if it's available in here. It's a system monitor. Let's first close the jack audio connection kit because we don't need it. Let's check the about 1.5.2. And here is the task manager. As you can see, CPU is going almost like a 50%. There is a high peak here, and memory is around like 600 MB because Xfce is a lightweight desktop environment, not like LXQT. It's okay or a mid-weight it comes after the LXQT LXDE because it's also using less memory here. As you can see, I'm using a 4 GB of RAM, but it's using like a 600 MB. These are all the processors running right now. As you can see, I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end of the video, and you will have an idea of how much resources are consumed after using all the apps and the Linux distro for a few seconds or a few minutes. These are few options. I tried to change the language, but it didn't change for me, so we are stuck like this. If you know how to change the language, you can change your language. And here are some desktop features which you usually see in the Xfce or the MX Linux. Here are all the applications which comes pre-installed. These are all the applications which comes pre-installed, as you can see. So it's going to take a lot of time, so instead of waiting that, let's open the terminal. Let's type in the terminal, which is ter terminal the Xfce. Let's check the version of the Xfce or the terminal 1.0.2. Let's type in a few more commands like inxi. Hit on enter. Instead of inxi, let's type in another command, which is inxi-sv8, which will open all the, instead of sv8 I typed dv8. Let me type sv8. This is the command to get all the distro info in one typing or at once. You need to remember this command. This is the command to get all the distro info. Host is Mandioca or Mandioca. I don't know how to call it. I'm sorry. I think it's they're going to call it like a Mandioca. And the kernel is 5.10, which is an old version, and it's a 64-bit architecture. Compiler GCC version is 10.2.1, and Xfce version is 4.18.1. Xfce is the latest version, which is a 4.18. The latest version right now is 18.4, which is 4.18.4, and GTK version is 3.24.24, and SlimSki version is 1.5.0, and WMXFWM version is 4.18.0. Distro is Anti-X21, and here is the base, and Debian New Linux. As you can see, based on Debian New Linux. I'm sorry if I said anything wrong in the beginning of the video. I don't know properly anything about the Linux distro because I was exploring the SourceForge and I randomly found this distro. As you can see, I don't know anything about this. I'm watching, or I'm using this Linux distro while you are also watching the video at the same time. I don't know anything about this distro, and the RAM I already mentioned. And this is my CPU, and these are the display resolutions available. Let's scroll down and see what we find here again. Let's keep on scrolling. We will find something like INXI version is 3.3.19, and Alt10 shell bash version is 5.1.4. and the processors running right now are 325 and uptime is 5 minutes. Wake ups are 50. Let's type in another command, which is cat etc /issue and hit on enter. Loc-Os 22 Xfce powered by Debian. And let's type in another command, which is htop. Instead of this, let's type in neofetch and see if it's pre-installed or not. Neofetch is also installed. Operating system Mandioca Lite, and I'm using a VMware. Bash is 5.1.4, Xfce 4.18. WM theme is Obsidian 2. Themes and everything is here. So let's type in inxi-b, which will give the same information which we read before. but in a short form, INXI dash capital G. Hit on enter. It will also give some info. Let's type in htop if it's available. Htop, here is the htop. The memory is almost 981 MB and the CPUs are going crazy here, as you can see. And let's close this thing. And let me show you how to download this distro, or I will take you directly to their website. They don't have their own website, but they are in the SourceForge. So let me show that. Here are the apps. Software manager is almost loaded pretty much. So let's check the version of the Firefox browser. It should be like a 311 or 312 because they are the latest version. But we are getting here 102, which is an old version. No problem, let's go with it. So let's type in Mandioca Lite and hit enter. It should be in the SourceForge. So here is the SourceForge. That's the first URL. Or you can directly type this URL in the search bar in your browser. And the ISO file is released recently. Maybe this is the this ISO is released or the website made in the 2023 of April. It should be new Linux distro. We properly don't know, or we don't have any info about this because the downloads. Let's check the downloads this week. Only 3 downloads. One is mine and 2 should be some other people. So here is the ISO file. If you want to test it, you can test it. Always try to test it in a virtual machine because we don't know anything about this Linux distro, or we don't have any info about the distro. So here is a summary. Its status is a beta version, and also it's a beta version, so it's better to always use it in a virtual machine instead of ruining your PC. So we don't know if there should be some bugs. This is a Portugal language, I guess, and if you want, you can translate it by typing, or directly copy the URL and put it in a Google URL. I'll show you that if you don't know that. Let's type in Google Translate and hit enter, and there should be a, this is the Google Translate. So first we need to copy the URL, and we need to go to C2's web, which should be like a website. So it's also in a different language. So paste it here. We need an English. And the website should be translated. After translating the language, the name of the Mandioca should be in a Xfce like this. Because I tried to learn this in a English before making a video, it automatically changed like a Xfce Lite instead of a Mandioca Lite. So here are the info, or the important description of the website. It's a light version of Mandioca Lite or a Xfce Linux. It's adapted using low resources machine. It says low resources machine, but the CPU are going crazy, but the RAM is good, which is almost a 1 GB RAM. And also it's in a beta version, so it's better to stay within a virtual machine instead of directly installing it. And we don't know anything, or we don't have any info about that. So it's clearly up to you to judge or use it or not. So that's the website. Let's close this thing and let's explore something like a installer. Maybe it should be the launch anyway. The password should be live, I guess. Let's try to put in the password live. And here is the installer name. I don't know properly anything this language. It's hard to even use. Maybe it should be like a username and password, same password like that. So it's better to use it in a live mode, if you ask me. It's my opinion. If you know the language, you can go through all these things, because I don't know the Portugal languages. And here is the software manager at our app store. And if you ask why you are making a video on this Linux distro, because there was no content to make, and I was exploring for the content, and here we found the new Linux distro. And my channel is special for making the latest Linux distros, or the unique Linux distros, or the unexplored Linux distros, which most of the people don't know. I'll make that content, so I choose this one as the no one made this video on this Linux distro, because it was released like a 3 days like that. So my channel is always to explore the new things. So here we are with a new Linux distro. If you are if you know the language like a Portugal, it should be very easy for you, but for the people who know English, it's very hard. So let's close this thing. And these are the apps which comes pre-installed. Let's only open the important apps, because we only need the important apps. The unnecessary apps should be only for the people who wanted to open that thing. GIMP is used by every person, almost everyone. So let's check the version, 2.10.28. So we already saw the Firefox web browser, Audacity, and a VLC media player. Like few more important apps, and let's end the video. That's it. VLC media player, I don't know what is this is the version 3.0.18. let's close this thing. What we left here, Audacity, the version is 2.4.2. let's close this thing, and let's open the applications from here and see what else we have here. Do we have a LibreOffice or something like that? We have a LibreOffice, so let's check the LibreOffice version 2. And we saw the file manager version 2 in the beginning of the video, so I'm not going to open that again. That's it. We don't have much of apps, just the terminal torrent client and few other Xfce desktop environment apps. That's it, nothing more than that. And the LibreOffice version is 7.4.5.1. so let's close this thing, and let's open the system monitor. And this is the software manager, this is the some settings, power settings, and this is the setting manager. Let's go back. This is the file manager which I already showed. So what else we left here is a system monitor. Let's open the system monitor. This is Synaptic package manager. Let me show the Synaptic package manager also, because some people need the version 0.91.2. Let me quickly scroll this down, and in order to see this packages, you need to change YouTube settings to 0.25, which is a playback speed, and you will see the complete packages in a slow or a slow motion video. The installed one version, the installed one will be like a ticked with a blue mark. I'll show you. For example, we will see here like this, and the version will be here. Installed version will be like here. If you want, you can slow down the video and check that. So I'm making this fast because it's going to take a lot of time, because no one want to watch the 20 or 30 minutes video. Only few people want to watch that, but let's check the system monitor. Before it was like 600 MB, and now it's 1.1 GB. If you ask me for the RAM management or RAM resources using, for RAM it's pretty good. Even if you are using a 2 GB of RAM, it's pretty good Linux distro, if you ask me, in my opinion. CPU is also right now is almost 40%, and it's in a beta version, and it's unknown Linux distro. We don't know anything about that. It's clearly up to you to judge if you want to test it or not. If you want to test it, just go with the virtualization VMware, like VirtualBox or VMware. They are the good option. So if you want to test it, you can go with it. If you are a normal user, so it's better to stay out of it. So I think that's it for the video. So let me take to you my channel. This part is only for the viewers who want to watch my content without subscribing. People who already subscribed, no need to watch this step, just skip it. In order to watch my content without subscribing, you need to type in youtube.com/9to5linux / or slash, you can call it. This is the URL you need to type in your browser if you're using a mobile or a tab or a TV. If you're using a browser in it, you need to type in full URL like youtube.com / or a /9to5linux. If you are using a YouTube app in a TV, a tab or the mobile, just type in 9to5linux in the YouTube app. It will take directly to my channel. So let's click on enter. It's going to take to our channel directly. And I'm using a VPN, so it should take a few seconds more as usual. So here is our channel. As you can see, I'll post 2 videos daily without missing any day. So I mentioned here that I will post 2 videos daily without missing any day. And here are the timings. If you want to visit my channel, you can visit at these timings. The content should be available before the timings because I will put it in a premiere mode. So it will be available before the timing. But you should be having an idea of what I should be posting that day. And here is the community. The latest news or the latest packages releases will be here. You don't need to worry about the which distro was released or which package was released that day. I'll be giving you info of that. So keep an eye on it. So again, if you are here for the Linux content, only for the Linux content, just go to the playlist and you will find the Linux playlist here. Go to view full playlist, click on view full playlist, and it should take a few seconds. And I made like a 1556 videos of different types of Linux distros or variety of Linux distros. I almost covered like a 70 to 80% of Linux distros in this world which are available. This is the play all or shuffle. You can do anything you want. If you want to play all or shuffle. If you want to search the specific Linux distro or the specific search term, for example MX Linux, click on enter. So the latest releases will be available here. So whether it's alpha version, beta version, development version, whatever it is, the ISO, as soon as the ISO file release, the content should be available because I post as soon as the ISO file is released. So you don't need to wait or look for another channels. If you want to go to another channel, I have no problem. You can go and check that, check their channel too. I have no problem. And that's it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, it's clearly up to you. I'm not going to force you. I respect your opinion. So again, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out. I'm making another video of get free OS Linux distro. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out too. So again, thanks for watching. Goodbye.